The Complaining Nomad. Traveling can suck.
So this week's guest, it's Gemma Collins on a keto diet.
Hello, darling.
Hello, Rosie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. So tell us about where you're from. I know you're not from Essex, but anywhere south of Manchester is pretty much Essex to me. So
it all blends in.
Yeah, it does.
I'm from Devon. Represent Green Army. How are we?
And how long have you been travelling for? It's been quite a while.
Yeah, so I left England when I was 18. And I travelled all over Europe, and then I came to New Zealand, and like everybody else, I've been here for about 2 years.
That's awesome. You're having time of your life.
Yes, love it.
But you did do quite a bit before that though, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So I used to work for a travel company. So my job was to sort of travel lots of different destinations, summer, ski, all over the place. And did that for 5 years, 10 long seasons.
And that's it now? Is it all packed in?
That's it.
Yeah.
Committed to the nomad lifestyle instead.
There you go. Complaining nomad?
Complaining all day, every day.
Yeah, well, we are English, so we complain quite a lot. So tell us about this story that you've got.
So I was living in a hotel in the island of Mallorca, and it was a beautiful hotel, very sort of vintage looking. So it's, imagine sort of like your nan's decor, but like on holiday. The hotel was basically full of older generations as well. We called it the gold because it literally was 65 and over, the golden years. So my story is one that I haven't actually shared with a lot of people. So basically I was living in the hotel that I was working at, and one night I woke up and I checked my phone. It was like 2:30 in the morning. And I woke up because I felt really weird. Like, have you ever had a shower and you know when you put the water too hot and like it's so hot that your skin feels cold?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that's the only way I can describe it. But I woke up and I literally felt like that in my bed, and it was so strange. But I just kind of, I don't know, I didn't really think much of it. I thought maybe I'm too hot or something.
So it wasn't just flu?
No, like it was just a really, really weird feeling. Anyway, I went to sleep again for must have been about 10 minutes. And then suddenly there was like this like banging on my door. And I woke up, obviously, opened the door, and it was like the night receptionist. And he didn't speak too much English, but he basically just said in like broken Spanish, like, you need to come, he's dead. And I was like, what? So I'm like really confused and just kind of go into like work mode. I just like shoved my uniform on and was like, what am I doing? It's like nearly 3 a.m. Someone's dead. Like, no idea what's happening. I followed like the night receptionist down the corridor, and we went to this room. And inside the room, I like opened the door, and there was a lady like sat on the bed holding the hand of her husband, and he genuinely just looked asleep. But like as soon as like I went in the room, like you could tell that like he wasn't breathing, and like he was literally just dead lying there. So I'm like, oh God, what do I do? So, like, I feel like I should say at this point, like, with my job, you never really know what you're going to expect. They didn't really give us any training or anything either. It was literally just, like, I signed up for it because I was, like, free accommodation, travel in different places, like, perfect. Completely didn't read the small print where it's like, you might be woken up at 3 a.m. with a dead body. So I came in the room. I had to do, like, all of like, the reception had already called like the police and everything. So I just kind of came in and I sat next to the woman. I knew them because they had stayed in the hotel a couple of months before. So I actually knew the couple. And I just said to her, like, what's happened? And she was so calm and like collected. She was still like, so she was holding his hand and I was just like sat next to her, and she just said like, he's just slipped away. I'm like, okay. And she was like so composed, and I was able to like ask her like the questions, and she said like she just kind of woke up and again had like a weird feeling, and then just like kind of checked on him and then noticed that he wasn't breathing, and then she kind of just knew that it was his time. I mean, these two were like well into their 80s. Like
wasn't a shock.
No, it wasn't. Like,
maybe for you at 3 a.m.
Well, that's it. So I sat with her. We were just kind of like talking. What do you even say? I was freaking out because it was my first time ever dealing with something. My first time ever being in a room with a dead body as well. Like, luckily his eyes were closed as well. Like, I don't know how I would have coped if it was like the open eyes just there. The police came, they did like all the reports and stuff. Well, that day, it was a long day. Like, after this had all happened, like the body didn't get taken away until like about 8 a.m. So this is from like 3 till 8. I was in the room with him and the wife because she just didn't want to leave. So it was a weird experience.
So you were there for 5 hours?
Yeah, pretty much. Just sat there.
With the dead body?
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I didn't feel like freaked out or anything. Like, it was very weirdly like calm in the room. Even like the wife, she was so calm and collected. Like, it was, I want to say like peaceful. I know that sounds really weird, but like was
she kind of confiding in you?
Yeah, like we did at one point, like she did kind of have a little bit of a breakdown, and she had like a little cry, and she kind of like put her head on my shoulder, and I was just like, my heart was just like in pieces, but I was trying to just keep it, I don't know, dissociate myself from the actual situation that was happening. Yeah, and then after that finished, I then had to go down and do this like crazy welcome presentation to all these people that had literally arrived in the hotel that night, like, because that's like the first day of their holiday, so I had to like pretend that everything was all happy and roses. It was a very, very strange day. But yeah, so that's kind of like the first part of it, but then the second part is the bit that is the one that gives me...
How long ago was this?
So I was 22, so like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So after that all happened, like, obviously it was a very strange situation, not one that I ever thought I'd be in. Like, it's kind of one of those people that thought I could get through life without ever being in a room with a dead body.
Especially at work.
Yeah, especially at work. That's the thing, like, when you say, like, oh, I worked in Mallorca, everyone thinks, oh, spent your time in Magaluf. And I'm like, not quite. So it was about 3 weeks later, after that happened, like, our hotel as well, I should say, because it was a lot of older people, by about sort of 10:30 at night, like, the hotel was, like, silent. Like, everybody was in bed, there was no noise, everyone kind of called it a night, and like, you know, you could just hear like the occasional person like sleeping, but like there was nothing. And the hotel, it's very badly lit as well, like all the corridors are like quite long, and there wasn't like a lot of natural light, and they used to shut off like the main lights, and it was just kind of like the underfloor lights, you know, like the emergency ones. So like the hotel itself was a little bit spooky to walk around at nighttime, and I used to have to do like a night check. So I'd walk just kind of around the reception, you know, just seeing like if anyone was around and that. And like I used to creep myself out anyway, because like every shadow you're like, ooh, what is that? But yeah, this one night, like I'd done all of that, and I was in my room, and it was probably about 11 at nighttime. I had like just done my teeth, and I got into bed and like ready to go to sleep. I heard what can only be, it was a whistle, like, but not like a ship whistle or something. Like, it was like an old man like whistle, and oh my god, even now my hairs are like, did I really just hear that? Like, am I going crazy?
And there's nobody else around.
No one around. I like opened my door of my room and like looked down the corridor. It was all dark and it was only like the floor lights. And I was just like, yeah, nope. Like shut my door again. And I called my friend Joe, who worked in the hotel as well. And I was like, hey, I need you to come to my room. I'm freaking out. I just need an actual physical human being here with me. So Joe, he took like 10 minutes to come into my room, and that whole time I'm just like, okay, think like rationally. Because like before this happened, I was a super sort of like a straight thinker. Like my family are not religious. We've always been brought up very sort of like factual and like this is this, this is that. Never really even thought about, you know, the age-old question of what happens when we die and all this. Oh yeah, one thing that I did forget to mention earlier, which I feel like is quite important. So when the coroner did his like final, what's it called? Like report. Yeah. When he did his final report, he put the guy's time of death at 2:29 a.m.
When you had the chills?
Yeah. And when I read that, I was like, oh. No, like so like it just kind of all I know it could be a coincidence, like it could be a whole number of different things, but like for me, like it just seems like there's so many reasons that it points to this, and this is why like I do truly believe that it happened and like I felt something. Unless
you're experiencing that yourself, it's not for anybody to say the way.
Well, that's it. Like that. This is why I don't tell that many people, because like when I do, people are like, okay.
I genuinely, you know, believe that exactly what you think. You know.
Yeah.
It's like to get those chills at that time and to see that time of death and to put the two and two together.
Well,
like you said, it could just be a coincidence.
Literally.
But it also couldn't.
So yeah. So when I was in my room, I was waiting for my friend Joe, and he turned up, and I told him like what I heard, and Joe was from Nottingham, and you know what Nottingham's people are like, you know, they are very sort of straight to the point, and he was literally like, Ducky, you've gone loopy. And I was like, no, I heard it, I promise you I heard it. And he did like the classic, all right, I'll sort this out, you know. And he went, ooh, if there is... So the guy that passed was called John. And he was like, John, like, if you're here with us, you know, give us some kind of sign. And I was like, Joe, fuck. And then as I said, it literally, the lamp in my room, like, went dull and then went super bright again.
You're joking.
And I literally stopped midway. Me and Joe just kind of looked at each other and we were like... What?
So at this point, your friend Joe is fully believing this now?
Yeah, like 100%. Like he knew how shaken up I was about like the whole thing, because it was his day off, and he like came back into work the next day and was like, hey, how was it? And I was like, where do I start? But yeah, and then like I told him about like the feeling and stuff I had, but I know that he like just thought that I was a little bit loco at the time. But yeah, and then this happened, and like I know you can blame it on like the faulty Spanish wiring or something, but like I say, there's so many coincidences that happened all in like a string of events that I've never experienced before in my life, and I never have felt that way again since. So I don't know what it was like, but I don't know if it's because I'm like, maybe there's like a part of me that's more sensitive to it or something. But yeah, I don't know. It shook me up. But like not even in like a scared way, you know, in more of like a curious, like there is clearly something going on here. There's clearly more to this life than we know about.
But before this, you had absolute no belief in
I'd never really taken the time to sort of think about it. Never really looked that deep into life, to be honest.
But for your friend to be doing a mock exorcism in the room and that to happen straight away, that's pretty scary.
Well,
that
yeah,
has
like
made the hairs on my arm stand up.
he did it literally just to take the piss.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know if it was perfect coincidence that it happened at that time. But yeah, it definitely made me feel like, okay, there is more to this. And then after that, I just got really into like, sort of like the spiritual side of things. And yeah, I feel like that was like my key moment for me to like kind of change the way I was thinking and actually be like, there is something going on. I still wouldn't, I'm not religious in the slightest, but definitely believe that there is something more going on there now.
There has to be. But you haven't experienced anything after that either. Is that the only... Because after that is when you can start questioning coincidence, and because it's in the back of your mind, you can start putting two and two together. But if that's happening from your non-belief of, or non-knowledge of the spirit world,
yeah,
then that one experience must be
it's weird, yeah, because so after that happened, I decided to just kind of throw myself into the whole like spiritual thing, like especially like my best friend Lewis. He is a complete non-believer, and he just 100% thinks that it's all bullshit. Like, you're wasting your money.
I'm definitely on your side. I had an experience about 6 months ago when I was back in Australia. I was in my apartment on my own, getting ready for work, and I walked out of my bedroom into the kitchen and lounge area. I'd walked out to go to work, but I'd forgotten something in the room.
Yeah.
And I turned around, and a plant that was next to the doorway was now blocking the doorway back into the bedroom.
Okay.
And
I'm like getting chills.
I cannot explain that.
Yeah.
No explanation. There was no one else in the house.
Oh my god.
This plant hadn't just moved a tiny bit, it had fully moved.
It like gives me like the little
about 30 centimetres
yeah.
to block the doorway. And I just stood there and I stared at this plant for probably about 3 minutes. And I just stood there and my brain was ticking. It was trying to figure out how this could possibly have happened.
Yeah.
How this plant has moved. And all I could think of was I had a friend who passed away a couple of years ago, Ben Wright, and I just laughed because I thought it would be something that
he would
do.
Yeah.
Just for a bit of a joke.
Well, that's it. Like,
but again, there's. I just stood there for 3 minutes to figure out how this had moved, because it's not like I thought that it had just moved a bit to the right or to the left. It was actually blocking my path back into the bedroom.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know, like I like truly do believe in it, and I feel like it's a really nice thing to believe in as well. And I think that's why as well, like, it kind of ties in with like traveling and stuff, and obviously being away from your family, and like people always say, you know, like it must be so hard, like being away from them and everything. I don't know, like even my grandparents before I left, they were like, you know, like we're always there, we're always with you. And I feel like even after they're not on this planet, like they still will be. They'll still be around. And like, I don't know, I feel like it's a nice, like, it's a comforting feeling.
It is, and that's what it's about. As long as it makes you feel comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
It shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks, or whether they think that it's bullshit, or, you know, it's all about you. And if it helps you deal with grief, even though you haven't had to go through it yet, I think if it does help people deal with grief, then just let people believe what they want to believe.
The complaining nomad. Traveling can suck.
Speaking of, like, you know, like when you're traveling and you meet people that remind you of someone from home or someone that you've met before or whatever. So when I was in France, I was like on the ski resort outdoors, and I met this guy in the bar. We were just like talking like old friends, like literally old friends. And then someone was like, oh, you guys have like must have known each other ages. And we were like, oh yeah, like we have. And then we kind of just like looked at each other. Honestly, like I knew him, like I actually knew him, and he knew me. I was like, wait, hold on. We realized that, yeah, like he thought that like I had a different name and I thought that he had a different name. And then we were like, oh wait, we don't actually know each other. And then we were trying to like pinpoint it, and we were like literally went back through like the moment we were born, you know, like trying to work out where our paths would have crossed before. Because I was like, because on the seasons, like you meet so many people in similar sort of circles, and we 100% felt like we knew each other until we found out that we weren't the people that we were thinking of, and we were so confused.
And he felt exactly the same.
Yeah, like exactly the same.
Wow.
It was mental.
Would have been a pretty good chat up line though if that's what he was.
I mean, can you imagine? I know
Well
you
thought
from somewhere. No, but like it was so weird because like we had so many things like that were the same, like our stories and stuff, like everything. It was like we had spent time together before, but then we realised that we actually didn't know each other at all, and like we were two complete strangers. I was like, what?
That's crazy. Should we get Lewis in and
Yeah,
see what he
sure.
thinks?
I mean, before I take you off on some massive tangent about life after death.
The complaining nomad. Traveling can suck.
So Lewis, what do you think of Rosie's ghost story? Because I heard you were a bit of a skeptic. So you two have been friends for how long?
Like you've seen a ghost.
10 years.
So you two have been friends for 10 years.
Yeah.
And she said that you thought that she was a bit crazy.
Yeah,
Is that what you still think?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I don't know, actually. No, it is very... It's a
Even
very,
the lamp?
It's
The lamp?
it's a very scary story, to be honest, isn't it?
yeah, it is a little bit spooky. Well, it's not even spooky. It's just like, you know.
Bit strange.
Yeah. Gives
So-
me the chills.
I brought you on for a little bit of a game.
Okay.
So you guys, like you said, known each other for 10 years. So you should know each other pretty well,
Inside and out.
inside and out. So we're going to play a little game of who's more likely. Okay? So I'm going to read out a few scenarios, and then I'll count down from 3, and then both say the name,
Okay.
either Rosie or Lewis.
Okay.
And we'll see
Okay.
what we
Oh,
think.
this is
That's
fun.
good?
This is fun.
Have a sip of
Fun.
wine before we
yeah,
get
okay.
Okay.
big old. Oh, Lewis has finished.
There's only a few.
I finished it.
Alright, you guys ready?
Go for it.
Okay.
Alrighty. Who's more likely to stop out and ask for a pickup in the morning? 1,
And then ask for a
2,
lift.
3.
Rosie.
Rosie.
Okay, you agree on that one.
100%.
100%.
But I want to defend myself here and say it's only because I'm not a very good driver. So if Lewis asked for a pickup, I'd have to get an Uber.
So it's more safe for them.
No, it's not. That is not the real reason, everybody.
Alrighty, next one is who's more likely to borrow money off a family member, say it's for a doctor's appointment, only to spend it on a night out? 3, 2, 1.
Lewis.
I've done that.
You've actually done that.
I can't believe that question came up.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It was for a bond. It was for a house bond.
Which is like, what, thousands of dollars?
Well, let's not talk about that.
I mean, the housing prices in Wellington are extortionate.
Extortionate.
But yeah,
Yeah.
what did you came up with an amazing
I am
quote the
currently
other
in
day.
debt.
Okay,
Wait.
but did you spend it on a night out? Or several nights out?
I've spent it since I've been here in the Mount Maunganui.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think what was your quote? Oh, I wish it was something like, I am going to pay her back, but funds more important, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's wholesome.
No, I said I've already had it for 9 months. I might as well have it for another 9 months.
So that one's definitely you.
Definitely
Yeah,
Lewis.
Okay.
100%.
Next one. Who's more likely to cheat on a partner whilst travelling but not tell them? 3, 2, 1.
Rosie.
Rosie.
100%.
In my defence,
Again, you got a lot of defences.
only
Well,
because
it's happened.
Lewis doesn't. Oh no! Oh well, one time.
You don't need to go into detail.
No, I
just in
feel like
case
we
the
should
No,
go
no,
into
it's only
detail,
because
to be
Lewis
honest.
doesn't commit.
Neither
Bit of a-
do you, babe.
Bit of a bachelor.
No.
Rosie commits for like 3 months.
No,
and
we're
then
single for life.
backdoor boogies.
Single for life, yeah.
Well, you're travelling, at least you're having a good time.
Living our life.
Who's more likely to bail on travel plans? 3, 2, 1.
Rosie.
No,
Ooh.
no.
I knew this one would
This has
cause a bit of
happened.
problem.
When?
Move-
When?
Next question.
No,
No,
This has happened-
let's
Brett.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
No.
Next one. Yes.
Oh my god!
Yes.
I literally came with you.
Oi. But
Oh
you
my-
were going to bet.
Sorry,
Oi.
sorry. In my defence again, who quit their job after 5
this is a different
years
situation.
to come and travel with their best friend
Okay,
who
so
didn't
shall I
wanna,
tell them the story?
wanted to leave New
Do you wanna
Zealand.
listen to the story of what happened?
Wanted to leave New Zealand, and I said, "Don't leave. I'm quitting my job, and I got on the next plane out here. And 2 years later, I'm still here.
Right.
Done. Move on.
No.
I'm the better
No.
friend.
Question. He wants to know the...
No.
he wants to know
We don't know.
Well,
No,
exactly.
yeah. Okay. Move on.
Okay.
Next one.
I thought that one was going to cause much
No,
problems.
yeah. It will. Because I'm right.
Well,
Always. Always.
Yeah. I'm right.
Who's most likely to join the Mile High Club? 3, 2, 1.
Lewis. Yeah, and you hesitated. You said you
did
tried to
hesitate.
blame it on me, and you know that it's you.
No, I was going to say, have you already done it?
No, of course I haven't. You probably
Have you?
have, though, you dirty dog.
No, I haven't. Nearly. No, I'm joking. No, I'll never.
Last but not least,
Okay.
Okay.
who's most likely to be talked into smuggling drugs for a Mexican cartel? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, like both of us.
Yeah, literally.
That's so funny.
We would do it together.
Because last night we were literally just telling everyone about our trip in Mexico. Like, we got in some shifty situations. But, like, we ended up in Mexico because I got home from... Where was I? Austria. And met up with Lewis in the pub. And we had a couple of jugs. And next thing I know, we've booked flights to Mexico. He rings his boss, like, I need 2 weeks off work. In 2 weeks' time, I'm going to Mexico. Like, I get home, my mum was like, how was seeing Lewis? And I was like, well, we've just booked a 2-week holiday to Mexico in 2 weeks' time. Hasta la vista, baby.
Bye.
So,
And yeah, we basically nearly got wrapped up in the drug cartel. So, you know,
Yeah.
that's another
so
story.
it wouldn't take much.
No,
What price are you talking?
I don't know.
Anything now.
It's 100 quid.
Cool.
Absolutely.
However
Then you
much
can
money
pay
I
back
can
your
get.
auntie.
Yeah. I mean, that's top priority for me right now. After RNA, of course, actually. Maybe second priority.
Oh my
Alrighty,
God.
guys.
That's so funny.
Thanks heaps for coming on.
That's
Thank you
amazing.
very much.
Luke, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Great.
I've
Thanks,
honestly
guys.
enjoyed it. I
That
can't wait
was
to call my
very
mum
fun.
now. Tell her not to listen to the last 10 minutes of the show.
Shout out to Lewis's auntie. Thanks for always helping out.
What a legend.
Love you.
The complaining nomad. Traveling can start.